Hey stars, it's me, Shot Star, and I'm back. Um, Before starting this video, I'm letting you know I'm drinking some coconut rum and some pineapple juice. Nothing special, something light, and I just wanted to let you guys know. Um, First, I'm going to start off with some updates that I promised to update you about from a previous recording. I'm going to update you on the Gene Hackman and his wife and his dog deaths from last week, and I'm going to update you on the hazing death of the college student. Okay, so the Gene Hackman death of his wife, and his one of his dogs. Now, I really don't even want to go over this story again because I'm sure you guys know about it already, but seriously speaking, it's pretty much a lesson to all of us. Those of us that are blessed to have older parents, to still have our parents around. I mean, because a lot of us of a certain age, we don't have our parents around anymore. But those of us that do, Gene Hackman was 95 and his wife was 65. Gene Hackman, oldest, he had three kids. His oldest child was 65 years old, and his youngest was in their 40s. Okay. And you expect that from a man of the age of 95. Um, and allegedly, they asked one of his kids, I don't know which one, and this was supposed to be one of his kids that he's actually closest with. And they stated that they hadn't spoken to their dad in months, at least 2 months. That's ridiculous. You have a 95-year-old dad and you hadn't spoken to them in 2 months. We have FaceTime, we have phones. Even if it's, hey, dad, I'm just calling to check on you. How are you doing? Yada, yada, yada. I'll call you next week. You got to hear their voice. You got to hear them say something. You had to hear, at least tell you for a few minutes how their day is going. That's ridiculous. And those of you that are blessed enough to have your parents around, please don't let the time go by. Even if it's not the best or the greatest relationship, you're going to wish, if you're not taking advantage of the time, if you have a 90, 95-year-old parent, please take the time to check on them. For instance, this Gene Hackman story, freak accidents. This was really, you would never think that this story would turn out the way it did. We thought it was a gas leak or something of the sort. We all have in our minds how we thought this story would turn out. Check it. This is the story. The wife, 65 years old, apparently was bitten by a rodent and she picked up some type of virus. It was called the hantavirus pulmonary syndrome, which comes from being bitten by a rodent. And if not dealt with, it will kill you. So she became sick with this, not knowing that she had this, and she died. Gene Hackman, and now mind you, she's the main caregiver to Gene Hackman, feeding him, giving him his medication. She happens to die in the house. Okay? She happens to pass away in the house on the day that she picked up a dog, one of their dogs that had surgery the day before. She picked up the dog on the day that she passed away, which the dog, because of having surgery, had to be kept in a cage. Mind you, the dog is brought home in a cage. She happens to die after bringing the dog home. So she dies in the house. Gene Hackman has Alzheimer's. Alzheimer's? Yes, I'm sorry if I mispronounced it, but he has Alzheimer's, plus he has a heart condition. So she dies because he has Alzheimer's. He's unaware of what's going on around him. So for a week, he doesn't get medication. He doesn't get fed. Lord knows what else he doesn't, that he's not attended to. He's unaware that his wife is dead or has gone on. The dog that's in the cage is dehydrated and not being fed. he also passes away. And eventually, Mr. Hackman passes away from not being fed, dehydration, no medication. It's a domino effect. Gene Hackman has three adult kids from the 40s to the 50s to the 60s. No one checked on them. It's devastating to think that someone just sat there and withered away because they have Alzheimer's. They're not in their right mind. It's not their fault. And because of their main caregiver has passed away. And that they are in the same home. So she had passed away for a week. He was unaware. He didn't know. He was so unaware that he didn't even feed himself. Couldn't give himself medication. Was unaware that his wife was deceased in another room. Think about that, people. That's a horrible way to go. Enough of that. People, check on your families, check on your friends, check on your strong friends. This pandemic should have taught us. If it didn't teach anything, it should have taught us. Check on our loved ones. If you have this much love for them, check on them. And especially if they're elderly, especially 95. You don't check on your parents at 95? And you know that his other half is 65. She's still elderly. She's 65. We know that us in our 50s are the new 40s. We know all of that, but that's now. Some 65s are really 65s. Some 70s are really 70s. Some of them are. We know the new 50s is the new 40s. We know, but some people, some 65s and 70s are really 65s and 70s. They really are. Depends on what other underlying conditions that are there. You know? Okay, moving along. Again, we're gonna go on to the next update. That disturbed me so bad because I wish my mom and my grandmom was around. There's no way I could say I would go 2 months, 2 weeks, two days. Really? 2 days? I couldn't go 2 days. Okay, so the next update, people. There are now three people charged in the hazing death of the Southern University A&M college student Caleb Wilson. Well, we spoke about in a previous video of the hazing death of Caleb Wilson, and now there are three people now charged in his death. So there will, of course, we're going to hear more and more about this. Of course, the fraternity originally, the original story was that he was standing in line in a park and passed out, and we come to find out that it happened in a warehouse that was rented by allegedly the head of the fraternity at the time, and Caleb McRae, and now he's being charged with felony manslaughter and criminal hazing leading to the serious injury or death, according to the court documents. So I'm sure there's no getting around it. We're definitely going to hear more and more about this. Now, here in New Jersey, okay, I'm hearing more and more about, and I'm sure it's happening everywhere, but I'm just speaking of what I know. Here in New Jersey, I'm hearing more and more of chiropractors, you know, the ones that get you together when you know you're feeling a little stiff and cracking your back. Well, a chiropractor here has been convicted to some jail time for having hidden cameras in his bathrooms in his office. And I'm starting to hear it more and more. And, I've always kind of been a little leery about going to the bathrooms in doctor's office. Because first of all, I just thought the germ factor of it all, like, okay, I don't want to use the bathroom in public areas, and I definitely don't want to use a bathroom in a doctor's office. I mean, people are there that are actually sick. I know they're sick, you know? So, um, this is how this is. It's I don't know, people. We have to be careful. Now, apparently, this chiropractor, because apparently this is happening pretty often. When I say pretty often, when I went to look this story up and read more about it, it's happening pretty often. And I had to look up if chiropractors had to actually be licensed. And I asked that because I didn't hear anything about licenses being revoked or suspended. Okay, so Gary H. of Livingston previously pleaded guilty to 6 counts of third-degree invasion of privacy. Hesh was sentenced to 90 days in county jail by Union County Superior Court Judge Richard Wyson. Okay? Now, he had cameras, more than one, more than two, three hidden cameras found in bathrooms at 201 Mountain Avenue at Hesh's chiropractic office. Okay? So he had hidden cameras in the bathrooms. So he was sentenced to 90 days in jail, people. So I don't know if 90 days in jail is actually enough time. You think that's enough time to have? Because God knows what these cameras actually picked up. So it says he is on 6 counts. So he received 90 days in jail for installing cameras in his bathroom of his medical office. So when he does his 90 days and gets out, he is going to be put on 5 years probation, but I didn't hear anything about his license being revoked or suspended. So does that mean after his 90 days, he gets to go back to practicing business as usual? I don't know. I'm going to look into that a little more because I don't know. I don't see anything with them saying his license is revoked or suspended at least. Nothing. I looked it up. They do have to have a license to practice. So I don't know, but I'm going to definitely look that up. I will definitely give you an update on that because that's crazy. 90 days? That's not nearly enough time for that because who knows what is caught on that camera? I don't know. So I will definitely get back to that. But okay, we're going to stay in New Jersey for this one. Okay. Now, I know times is hard, and I'm going to say that times is hard everywhere. And it seems like no matter what the job is, it seems like people are always trying to find a side gig from their main gig. But I find it crazy when the main gig is policing, such as police officer, correction officer, probation officer, where you're sworn to protect and serve, where you're sworn to be honest as much as you can. I mean, well, a New Jersey correction lieutenant stole and sold 475,000 in state ammunition, the prosecutors say. Now, what that means is, people go to the academy. So this would be for the Department of Correction. So that would mean that when they go to the academy or go to the range to learn to shoot or just to train, this is what he's in charge of, I would assume. Okay. So I'm assuming that, okay, let's dig into this a little more. A State Department of Correction range master. So he's in charge of 3 state ranges where State Department correction officers, and I believe maybe other different departments can go and They're shooting ranges. Well, they apparently supply um, the bullets, ammunition for all types of guns. So, a State Department of Correction range master has been charged with stealing ammunition and selling it for more than $475,000, authorities said. Timothy Morris, 56, of Bayville, New Jersey, faces charges of official misconduct, theft, and structuring financial transactions, the state attorney general's office states. Okay, so apparently this state correction officer, he's a range master. He's in charge of three really big ranges, and he does all of the ordering of ammunition, whatever that is, for all types of guns. Okay, he's been a range master since 2008. We are now in 2025. Okay, he makes approximately $137,000. That's what he makes annually. Okay. Again, he's been with the department for 29 years. So this has been going on for a number of years. And so far, this is just so far, they have calculated he has overbilled and ordered $500,000 in ammunition and sold it to ammunition stores, gun shops, pretty much whoever he could sell it to. Okay. It says Morris was responsible for managing the agency's 4 firing ranges and ordering ammunition, authority states. He has been suspended pending the outcome of his criminal case. Morris has used his position since January 2019 to order excess ammunition and regularly sold it to gun stores that paid him directly, authorities said. So from 2019 to now 2025. So he's been doing this for 5 years, where he's been selling the ammunition that he's been just ordering excesses of it through the state of New Jersey, and has made pretty much $500,000 on top of his $137,000. Okay. And then, of course, he had to forge documents. I don't know. You're finding more and more of this misconduct. You're finding more of this. And I mean, goodness gracious, you're making $137,000. That's a pretty good salary for what you're doing. You're not actually in the streets. You're not actually dealing with real criminals. You're not. Your life is not threatened on a daily basis. So to make $137,000 and maybe all you do is order things, oversee some employees that work at your 4 ranges that you oversee, but to make $137,000 and for the past 5 years bring in another $500,000, you're doing pretty good. So we'll see how this turns out. I don't know, but we're finding more and more, and corruption is real. It's real, and this is what we know of. This is just one little thing that we know of, and this is just one person. This is $500,000 of corruption that we know of from one person. So imagine how deep this really goes. You know what I mean? Listen, I tell you, I'll let you know, and that's what it is. So now, I don't know if you guys have heard about this, but there was actually a shooting at the major Chicago airport. And a lot of times you may not hear about things because they don't want you to know. With the planes falling out the sky and so much stuff going on. Well, there was a shooting at Chicago's O'Hare Airport during a fight near Terminal 2. Injures a man. He was pop out. Apparently, it was at the arrivals, and apparently a argument and a fight broke out at the arrivals inside of Terminal 2. Um, and a person told them that they went out to their car and got something and came back in and fired on a man, and nothing life threatening, but this is what's happening. So you have to be very, very, you tend to think that the airports are one of the safest places, but they're not. Not even a little bit. And until you get behind security, getting dropped off at the airport and just going through them doors, you're not safe. And you may be just a little more safe once you get through the checkpoints. But after that, not so much. But again, you have to stay alert. And yeah, things are happening, people. They really are happening. Um, I found out that Tiana Taylor and her now ex-husband Iman are now officially separated, and it seems like Tiana really came off the winner. If you really want to know, um, I thought that she was. Well, I mean, you know what? He was in the NBA for, I believe, what, 10 years or so. So I mean, it's. I'm not too surprised that he. Okay, well, this is what happened. Um, Apparently, Tiana Taylor. It says Tiana Taylor reaches multi-million dollar divorce settlement with Iman Shumpert, right? Okay, so, well, this is what happened, and this is what came along with it. She apparently came out with four high-end properties worth more than $10 million, allegedly. A single seven-figure sum, several luxury cars, such as a Maybach, valued at $300,000, a $70,000 Mercedes Sprinter, and a tour bus. Additionally, um, she will retain complete ownership of her businesses, along with a financial agreement. Shumpert, Iman, will pay $8,000 a month in child support for their two daughters. He will also take care of their private school tuition fees. And yeah, so it looks like she did pretty well. Looks like she did pretty well. Um, all is fair in love and war, I would assume, right? Um, yeah. Well, he's now retired from what I understand. So I mean, I just hope he can keep it up. That's a lot. That's a lot. I mean, from what I understand, they said he was worth 16 million, and she came up with 10 million in homes and some cars. Guess what? My business. Well, guess what? Well, let's get a little. And listen, I'm not pulling this story from my butt. This, and believe me when I tell you, this actually happens more times than we think. I'm telling you the truth. Okay, okay. Y'all ready for this one? A dog called Oreo turns on his owner and shoots him while he lies in bed. Okay. Now, I'm going to repeat that because I know you're saying that drink must be a little stronger than you thought, but it's really not. A dog called Oreo turns on his owner and shoots him while he lies in bed. Okay. Well, the story goes, a Memphis man named Gerald Kirkwood told police, okay, that his dog leaped on his bed and got his paw stuck in the trigger guard, causing his gun to go off. Thankfully, the bullet only grazed the man's thigh. Okay, at the time, the man had company. The young lady that was there at the time left before the police arrived because, of course, she called the police and the ambulance before she left. And what I find weird about the story is when the police arrived and the man told the police what had happened, they asked where was the firearm, the gun that discharged. And the man stated that the woman took it with her when she left. So I started to think a little bit. I was like, okay, wait a minute. Okay, so picture this. The man is laying on the bed, the woman's sitting on the bed. This is what the man says. The man is laying on the bed, the woman's sitting on the bed. The gun is laying on the bed for some reason. Okay? The dog, for whatever reason, decides to jump on the bed. The dog jumps on the bed, and his paw happens to land right on the trigger guard of the gun, which makes the gun go off, which grazes the man in the thigh. Surprise, surprise. So then everyone's shocked. Then the young lady, however, picks up the phone, calls the police, the ambulance, picks up the gun, and leaves before the police comes. Why? None of it makes sense. I don't understand. But then again, somehow the man went to the hospital. This was all accepted by the police. As I went on with the story, reading it, it was said and even gave references to where this thing has happened before, where they gave two other instances where a hunter was out with his dogs and he put his gun up against a tree. The dog somehow ran, knocked the gun down. The gun went off, shot the man in the back. Then they gave another instance where the dog ran and jumped. He was in the truck. The gun was on I guess it was a straight bed truck where the seat was all one seat. The dog somehow jumped on the seat somehow. Paw hit the trigger guard, shot the man in the thigh. I don't know. But this is what I'm saying. This is what they're saying to us, that this happens pretty often. I can't explain why the woman took the gun. They never said the gun belonged to the man. They never said the gun belonged to the woman. They just said the gun was on the bed. The dog jumped on the bed and the gun went off. I don't know. I don't know what kind of police. I don't know what kind of Huckleberry Finn police department. They said this thing happened in Memphis. I don't know, people. I'm just telling you what I know, what they saying. You can look it up. I'm not lying to you. I swear. The dog name is Oreo. The man name is Gerald Kirkwood. It happened in Memphis. The local news station is WREG. The dog is a 1-year-old pit bull. You can look it up. I'm telling you, I have no idea. Listen, on that note, I love you guys. I hope to see you soon. I don't make the news. I just report it to you. I love you. Stay intentional. And I'm going to finish my drink. And I'll speak to you guys soon. I don't know. Love you guys. See you soon.